Good morning, everyone. Namaste. Welcome to your yoga class. If you can hear me loud and clear on Facebook Live, please drop me a note so that I know that the volume is okay and the transmission is good. Okay, welcome to your class. Today we will be doing a back bending class. So a back bending class is about extending your back. So it's also called back extensions. But funnily enough, for us to actually bend effectively in the back, we need to prepare and open up the front body a lot. So we're talking about a lot of expansion in the front body, a lot of deep stretching to basically open up and stabilize the front body so that we can bend from the spine, utilizing the whole spine as pain-free as possible and as comfortable as possible. So today's class is structured a little bit more like a tutorial. It's like a little bit of a workshop style. I will be breaking down the prep poses. We will be going into it with a little bit more depth and detail. And the props you'll need today would be two yoga blocks and a wall. So I'd like you to position your mat space close to a wall because we'll be using the wall as a prop as well in our class. Okay, so if you are working with any injuries or any pain, back off when you're doing any of the poses, pull back a little bit or just skip it all together and come into a child's pose. Okay, all right, so just go with your own breath, keep breathing throughout. The toughest thing in a back bend class is basically to monitor your breathing and to still the mind. So that is your challenge today, not so much of the poses, okay? Let's start with a thoracic opener, a really nice back opener. This is one of my favorites. You're gonna need two blocks for this. If you don't have a block for this particular one, let's say you're only working with one today, if you have a foam roller, that will be fine too. So I'd like you to come to the center of your mat, okay? And place one block lengthwise, and so one is vertical and one is horizontal. So you are actually in the lower half of your mat because I do want you to stretch your arms overhead and grab hold the upper part of your mat. So you need to scoot yourself a little lower, okay? And place your block in a T position like how I did it, and bend your knees, hold the block so that it's secure. And the bottom tip of your block is going to your middle back. That's just right at the bottom tip of your shoulder blades. So for ladies, it will be around your sports bra strap. Okay? So from here, your buttocks are on the mat. Lower yourself down onto your first block and then adjust your second block so that it supports your head. And this is a nice chest opener if you've been hunched over your desk all day. You don't even need to be doing a back bend class. This can be just a nice restorative pose for you. Make sure that your sits pose, your buttocks are really pressing down onto the mat. Now from here, even though your lower back is arched, I want you to go into a posterior tilt so that your tailbone is slightly tucked under. This is going to engage your lower belly, and this is super important to protect your lower back from any pinching or any compression during your deeper back bends. Once you're comfortable here, you're going to bring your arms up, externally rotate so that your inner arms roll out, and bring your arms by your ears. So you're stretching your arms by your ears and your palms are facing one another. Thumbs are pointing down to the floor. Now feel the extension of your arms. And take a few breaths here. Every time you exhale, I want you to push that middle back into the block to feel that chest opening. Allow yourself to breathe well here. And if you can, I'd like you to grab hold of the outer edges of your mat. Okay, so with your hands, your thumbs are pointing down into the mat. You're grabbing onto the outer edges of your mat. And then from here, if you have the range of motion and if you're comfortable, I'd like you to stretch your arms until your elbows are straight. So your arms are in external rotation. Keep your knees parallel, feet parallel. Hold it here for a few more breaths. Deep inhalations and slow exhalations through the nose. and then slowly release your hands. Support your head with your hands. Lift your head off the block so that your neck is free, and then turn over to one side and come out from your thoracic spine opener. Okay, so if you are practicing this on your own, you can stay there for a little bit longer. If some days you need a lot more warming up, by all means. Okay, let's come onto your hands and knees. You just move the blocks aside, but not too far away. They have to be accessible to you. Stacking your shoulders over your wrists, keep your elbows micro bent. Spread the fingers nice and wide, point the toes back, and then cat and cow pose. On an inhalation, arch your spine from the tailbone all the way to the crown. On an exhalation, round your back. As you draw the belly in, tailbone tucks under. Inhale, let's arch. We're going into anterior tilt, forward tilt of the hips. Exhale, we're going to go into a back tilt, which is a posterior tilt. 3 more rounds. Inhale. Let the breath move the spine. Exhale, round your back. Be very mindful on how the lower back is feeling. Inhale, twice more. And exhale. Good. Now let's come back into your tabletop position. Let's work a little bit on external rotation of the shoulders and the arms. I'd like you to bring your left leg out to the side. Bring your right arm through and bring the right shoulders to the floor. You're threading the needle, but you're holding your left leg. Okay? And once your shoulder is secure, I'd like you to spin the chest a little bit to face the ceiling. Sweep your left arm up and behind you. So your left arm is on external rotation. The thumb is pointing down towards the floor. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Coming back, release, and switching sides. Bring that right leg out. Weave the left arm through, turn your head to the right side. Grab hold of any part of the leg, can be the ankle, can be the calf, anywhere, okay? And then from here, spin the chest to face the ceiling, opening up that right arm back. External rotation. The right thumb is pointing to the floor. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Slowly release, coming back to your tabletop. Now from your tabletop, let's do a little bit of wrist stretching to prepare. Let's come back to this position whereby your fingers face your knees. So the elbow creases are facing forward. All right, I would like you to rock back and forth. Be very gentle. If your wrists kind of feel a little bit tight today, especially if you've been working a lot on the computer or you've been on your phone a lot. Good. Now the more you lean back, like you're trying to sit on your feet, the more intense the stretch is going to be. So breathe into the wrist and really feel, can you take this, or do you want to back off a little bit and go into it a little slower? Okay, 2 more breaths. Nice work. Now come back to the front and then flip your hands the other way. Let's sit on your feet for a moment. Shake your hands out like you're getting water off your hands, just to release your wrists a little bit. So we're going to come to a few rounds of modified sun salutations. We'll be paying a lot more attention to your lunges to open up the front body, like what I said before, to prepare you for your back bends, and also to feel a little more in your hip flexors, and I'll explain that as we go along. All right, so from here, once you're okay, I'd like you to come into your first downward facing dog. Pick your knees up, push your hips back, and just let your head hang naturally between your arms. Spreading the fingers nice and wide, press your knuckles on the mat. Now I'd like you to lift your heels and keep your knees straight so your buttocks are really high. Draw the lower belly in, and from here try to lower the heels down until they go to the floor as much as you can today. This is your first downward dog. Perhaps hamstrings are feeling a little bit tight today. Now let's inhale and let come into your plank position. Drop your knees down, chest and chin. Inhale, let's come into cobra. coil your chest up. So don't think of jerking up or lifting up like your handbrake in the car. I want you to coil the spine up and really feel all the facet joints in your spine working. Elbows hugging in. Nice. Let's go back into your downward facing dog. 1, inhale. Exhale. 2, inhale. Exhale. Look forward. I'd like you to step your right foot between the hands. Line the toes up with your fingers and bring your back knee to the floor. Point your toes to the back. Tucking your tailbone slightly under. Come into your low lunge position. Raise your arms by your ears. So your arms here, external rotation. Inner arms are rolling out. 3, 2, and 1. Palms to mat. Let's step back into your plank pose. Knees, chest and chin. Inhale, coming into your cobra. Exhale, into your down dog. Left foot between the hands, back knee to the mat. Scooping the tailbone slightly under, raise your arms up and lengthen the sides of the body for your low lunge. Feel the stretch on your right front thigh, your quads. Good, and then release, go back into your plank. Knees down, chest and chin. Inhale into your cobra. Now this time in your cobra, keep your chest lifted, raise your hands off the floor. Hands free, 5, 4, don't drop the chest, 3, 2, 1. Beautiful, downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward, back knee to the mat. Come back into the lunge, and this time we twist to the right side, so bring your left arm outside of the right leg. Twist your chest towards the right side, and bring your hands to prayer position. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Return to the mat for your plank, right leg back. Knees, chest and chin. Inhale into your cobra. Back into your downward facing dog. Left foot forward. Right knee down. Twist to your left side. Bring your right arm outside of the left leg. Hands in prayer. Left elbow pointing up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come back to the center for plank. Knees, chest and chin. Inhale into your cobra. And back into your downward facing dog. 2 breaths. Inhale. Exhale, 1. Inhale. Exhale, 2. Look forward, step your right foot between the hands. Now this time as you drop your left knee to the floor, I'd like you to bring your left leg a little bit more forward. So you shift your left knee about maybe 2-3 inches forward and come into a lunge whereby your legs are more of a box shape. Okay? Good. Now I'm going to turn to this side so that you can see better. You see the box shape? Okay, now from here, you're going to tuck your tailbone down so your hips are on posterior tilt. Okay, now keep your hips square. Bring your left hand behind your head and start to bend to your right side. What we're doing is we're targeting the hip flexor or your psoas muscle on your left side. So you should feel the stretch from the front thigh all the way to around the bottom of your rib cage. Not so much on the side body if you do it right. So you don't feel so much on the waist, you feel it in the front. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come back to the center. Now your hip flexors are very important. They actually connect your spine to the lower body. This needs to stretch in order to support you in your wheel pose. All right, palms to the mat. Let's go back into your down dog. Let's switch sides. Left foot forward, Right knee down and then inch a little bit more forward. Come into a lunge whereby you're basically quite boxy looking from the back leg to the front leg. Okay, tuck the tailbone under, all right? And then from here, you're gonna bring your right hand behind the head, keep your hips square, and then just do a little bit of a bend to your left side. Start to feel it in the hip flexors in the front, to the top of the quad. Some of you may feel it all the way down the front thigh. 5, 4, 3, 2, good, and 1. Release. Let's come back into your plank pose. Knees down, chest and chin. Cobra. And downward facing dog. Inhale 1. Exhale. Inhale 2. Exhale. Now look forward, step your right foot between the hands. Keep your back heel lifted. Now, if you need blocks for this one, grab hold of your blocks. Otherwise, come up to your fingertips and try to straighten your front knee. Your back heel is lifted. This is a modified version of your forward-facing triangle. Keep the hips square. Get a good stretch in the calves and in the hamstrings of your front leg. If you can, bend your elbows, fold a little bit deeper. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Beautiful. Let's go back into down dog to switch sides. Left foot forward, back heel is lifted, square off the hips, come up to your fingertips, straighten the left knee as best as you can. Either stay here on your blocks or on your fingertips. If you can, bend your elbows, go a little bit deeper, belly to thigh, chest to knee, forehead to shin. 4, 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. Let's go back into your downward facing dog. Inhale, come forward into your plank. Lower yourself all the way down to your belly. Okay? Now from here, just bring your hands, stack them one on top of the other. Rest your forehead on your palms for a bit. Now feel the sensation of your front body pressing onto the mat. Bring your feet hip width apart. Parallel feet. Okay? And then from here, you're going to pull your belly button away from the floor. So even though you can't see it, my core is engaged, belly button away from the floor. So you're bracing your core, protecting your lower back. From here, you're going to bring your hands behind you and interlace the fingers. Okay, stretch your hands to the back. Lift your hands away from your buttocks. On your next breath, you're going to coil your chest up. Press the feet down onto the floor. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release your hands. Place them under the forehead. Take a few breaths here to rest. Now come back to that same position so your legs are parallel. Belly button in, core is engaged. This time you're going to interlace the fingers and place them at the back of the head. Okay, just above the neck. Lift up your elbows. Inhale, lift your chest up. 5, 4, 3, 2. Try to get the ribs away from the floor. And 1. Release, palms under the forehead. Good. Now from here, I'd like you to come onto your forearms. Okay? And get your forearms diagonal. Shoulders over your elbows. Feet are still parallel. And your core is engaged. Your belly button is drawn away from the floor. Feel the lower belly really firm. That's super important. Keep the breath going. Sphinx pose. Okay, now from here, keep your left forearm as it is. I'd like you to bend your right leg. Thumbs up with your right hand. Reach back for your inner foot and hold the foot. So now your thumb is next to your big toe. Okay? Alright, so your arm is on external rotation. This is a lot for you. Shoulders feel a bit tight today. You stay here. If you can, lift your chest. Both of your hips are on the floor, so don't lean one side, but slowly push the heel and park the heel next to the hip. Not on the buttock, but next to the hip. And if you have the rotation, turn your fingers so that they close over your toes. Lift your chest for 5. Half frog pose. 4, 3, feel the stretch in the quads. Breathe. 2, 1.5, and 1. Release very slowly, don't slingshot the leg. Okay, switch sides. Right forearm diagonal. Don't forget the engagement. Bend your left leg. Reach back, thumbs up. Thumb next to big toe. Push it down. Turn. Elbow points up. Fingers close over the toes. Lift the chest. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.5. Got to keep it regular and consistent, right? 1, and release very slowly. Once again, stack your palms and place them under your forehead. Shake your legs or your hips side to side. Okay, so the next one, we're coming into bow pose, which is Dhanurasana. Okay, now the thing is this, I would like you to use a prop today. Sometimes I do teach this in the basic class. A block. Okay, now I am not going to use my block because my block is super solid, because I'm going to place it here to give me a bit of a lift. Okay, just like a hydraulic. Now this is very hard. This is almost like wooden, so it's going to hurt me, and I don't want to see my breakfast again, neither do you. So I am going to use the over ball, this Pilates ball, so it's quite firm. So if you're using a block, what you can do is you can fold your mat over the block and place it right in the center of your stomach, around the diaphragm area. Okay, but just make sure that the front of your hips are pressing on the floor, okay, and your feet will be hip width apart. Okay, so this is your position if you're using a block, and your block will be this height. Okay, so I'll give you time to get ready. With all that talking, I'm going to use the over ball, which is about the same height, so I'm not cheating. Okay. Oh. Alright, so from here, press my feet down, coil the chest up. Now you want to feel that your body is really lifting up this way. It's curving on a trajectory, and you're not going up this way, like I said, pulling the handbrake of your car. So use this to really coil the chest up. The spine is lifting. Okay, from here, bend one leg, reach for the top of the foot and push the shin back. So this is going to keep you very stable. You do not want to sink when you let go the other arm. Okay, from here, bend your other leg, reach back. Okay, then from here, kick the shins back, lift the chest, keep the hips on the floor. 5, feel the power of your legs. 4, 3, it's like you're trying to lift away from your block. 2, and 1. Release your legs, release your prop, come back down to your belly, and cross your hands under your forehead. If you want, you can shake your legs and your hips side to side. Okay? Right. Your next one is going to be reclined hero's pose, and this is going to be your last prep pose before, second last prep pose before we come into the wheel pose. All right, so if you cannot do this, you'll be sitting on a block. Come onto a kneeling position. Get your knees as close as possible. Turn the calf muscle out and sit between your heels. Your heels are next to your hip. If you are floating up, you need to sit on a block instead. So you shouldn't be floating up. Okay? Now you have an option. One is to place a block at the back because you're going to lie down, and if you cannot come totally onto the mat, you can always place a bolster or a block. Okay? So you're going to slowly tuck your tailbone under, posterior tilt, and then come down onto your block. Maybe this is you today in your Supta Virasana. If you can come flat onto your back, put the block aside, keep your thighs parallel. Your legs are now on internal rotation, which is the format or the technique for your wheel pose. Okay? Lie down on your back, keep tucking the tailbone under so there's less compression in your lower back. And if you're comfortable here, raise your arms overhead and grab hold of your opposite elbows. 5. Feel the stretch in the anterior chain of the body, the whole front body. 4, 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. Support yourself up. Okay, now come onto your hands. Shift the weight forward so that you're on all fours so that you can release the compression in your feet. And then slowly lift your feet up. Rotate your ankles. And then settle back down again. Next one will be your bridge pose. Have one block ready. Lie down on your back. Bend your knees. And get your knees directly stacking over your ankles. So your shins are 90 degrees. Okay, you're going to squeeze the block medium width between your thighs. Feet are parallel. Slight tuck of the tailbone. Take an inhalation to prepare. On an exhalation, lift your hips up, lift your spine up. Squeeze the block between your thighs and feel the engagement in your glutes. Your back bend is important because your glutes are firing up. Okay, so that is an important aspect. If your glutes do not support you in your back bend, everything is going to go into the lower back. So you can use your hands and just palpate your buttocks a little bit and feel that, oh, okay, my glutes are awake. Exhale, tuck your tailbone and slowly come down. Okay, we're going to do one more round, and this time we're going to interlace the fingers under the body. Take an inhale to prepare for your bridge. On an exhalation, coil up, lift up, and then snuggle your upper arms in, interlace the fingers, and extend the knuckles towards your heels. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. First, release your hands so that you have the space, and on an exhale, tuck your tailbone, and then slowly lower back down onto the mat. Okay, turn to one side and come on up. All right, now we're coming into our wheel pose. You're going to have to go to the wall for this. I'm going to move my mat here. Now this exercise using the blocks as an assist is really great if you have very tight wrists, you have tight shoulders, or you find that every time you're in class and you're trying to do the wheel pose, it's very, very hard to get your head off the floor. You like push and push and push like your life depends on it, and the head is so heavy. So the blocks are a really good assist to help you with a little bit of elevation to open up the shoulders. I still use the blocks when I practice the wheel, at least for the first 2 times, 3 times, to really open up before I come into the final pose. Okay, so you're going to place the blocks against the wall like this. So it's at an angle. If you have a skirting, it's great because it's going to be quite steady. Otherwise, You have to prop it up so that it doesn't fall when you put your hands on it, when you put your weight on it, okay? Now, remember a few things. Your knees will be directly over your ankles, so your shins are 90 degrees, perpendicular to the floor. You want to internally rotate the thighs, so feel like you're still squeezing a block between your legs, like in bridge pose. Your arms are on external rotation. We've been doing that a lot just now, so your inner arms are going to roll out, the chest is going to open, okay? Make sure the core is still engaged to protect your lower back. Now, the reason why we use the wall as well is because it's a good indication of where we're going. Because we're going to be hanging upside down, the back body is a little bit confused because the eyes are in the front body. So this tells us where we're going. But when we flip our perspective the other way around, we get a bit confused. We don't know which direction is front, which is back, left or right. Sometimes we even forget our name. So when we are in that wheel pose, I want you to think about bringing your arms and your chest closer to the wall. That is the direction you want to go, not this way. Because if you push your chest this way, you're going to have impingement on your shoulders, okay? So lie down, you're going to park your head between your blocks and bring your legs into a bent knee position. Your knees are over your ankles, press your legs down. Make sure your legs are working strongly. Bring your hands onto the blocks. Flip them around so that the fingers face your shoulders. Okay, so your elbows are parallel, arms are on external rotation. Now, you're going to lift your hips up. That's on an inhalation. Okay? And then on an exhalation, you're going to push up into your wheel. 5, 4, 3, chest to wall. 2, and 1. Tuck the chin. Bend your arms and legs. With control, slowly come down. Okay, you can hug your knees to your chest if you want to. We are going to do that again, okay, together. So remember, it's an inhale, you lift your hips halfway to your bridge pose. Stay there for a moment, stay there for a breath or two, but not too long, okay? Check that your elbows are still parallel. On an exhalation, you're going to push your arms straight. Make sure your legs are working at the same time. Let's try that one more time. Come back to position. Hands onto the blocks, fingers facing the shoulders, elbows parallel. You can check from here. Pull the lower belly in, core is engaged. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, push up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Tuck the chin. Exhale. Bend your arms and your legs and come back down. Hug your thighs in. And then roll to one side and sit up. Now, there is another way. If you do feel compression in your lower back, your feet will be on the block instead. So when you're practicing this in your own time, and I suggest you do it a few times, figure out what works best for you, okay? Sometimes the thing about technique is that it's never a one-size-fits-all kind of thing. Every person's body, bone structure is different, okay? So if you want to use blocks for your feet, nothing will be on your hands, yeah? Your blocks will be flat. So don't put them on an incline, and you're going to place your feet on the block. Same. All right, parallel, perpendicular. This time your hands are on the floor, fingers facing your shoulders. Lift up, and on an exhale, you're going to push up. Tuck the chin, bend your arms and legs, and come back down onto the mat. Once again, hug your thighs towards your belly. Okay, we're going to do a spinal twist as a counter pose. So from this position, you're still lying on your back. I'd like you to shift your buttocks a little bit to your left side. Cross your left knee over and drop your legs down to your right. Go slowly, extend your left arm out. Turn your head to the left. And breathe into your lower back to release any compression. Coming back to your center, uncross your legs, shift your hips to the right, change the crossing of your knees, and let's drop your legs down to your left as you twist to your right side. Turn your head to the right and press your right shoulder blade to the mat. Good, now come back to the center, shift your hips back to neutral. I'd like you to come into happy baby pose. So bring your feet to face up to the ceiling, shins are perpendicular, grab hold of your inner feet, press your shoulders to the floor. Happy baby is a really nice release for your lower back and for your sacrum. So feel like you're really pressing your lower back, imprinting it to the floor to release any possible compression from your back bend practice today. 3 more breaths. Good. Now release your happy baby pose. Hug your thighs towards your belly. And then turn over to one side. And then support yourself back to a seated position. Okay, now from here, I'd like you to come onto your kneeling position. Free the wrist a little bit before we wrap up the practice. So instead of doing this, just now you press your palms flat with your fingers facing your knees. This time, same, but the palms are facing up. Fingers facing your knees still. If you're very tight, you find that it's a lot on your wrists, bend your elbows. Okay, now once again, as you press all 10 fingernails to the mat, I want you to rock back and forth. Press a little more onto the thumbs and the index. Good, and then slowly release one by one. I'd like you to sit on your feet. In Virasana, sit up nice and tall. Just rest your hands onto your thighs as you close your eyes. Feel the shift in energy in the body after your back bend practice today. Take the time to slow your breathing down and deepen the breath. Back bends are an invigorating practice, sometimes better than coffee because the effects last a lot longer. We'll wrap up our practice today with 3 cleansing breaths. First, bring your hands in prayer in front of your chest, honoring your practice today. Inhale, raise your arms overhead. Exhale, prayer hands to your chest. 2 more, inhale. Exhale. 1 more, inhale. And exhale. Gently rub your palms until they're warm. Press your palms over your eyes and relax your eyes. Rub your palms again. Place them at the back of your neck. Massage the neck. Massage the tops of the shoulders. And once more, rub your palms. Place them at the lower back, send the energy there, massage the lower back. Slide the hands down the legs, bring them back to prayer position, and gently open your eyes. Namaste. Thank you very much for joining me for practice today. I hope you find that this has been useful. Please keep practicing. The wheel pose is pretty elusive. It took me a while to feel comfortable in it, and it takes even a longer while to warm up properly for it, to make sure that I don't feel any compression in any areas and that my body is totally supporting me in the practice. Okay, so don't think about it as, oh my god, it's a back bend practice. I want you to practice with presence and with patience. That is your gift to yourself. Right, so every time you come onto the mat, just tell myself, I'm going to be present with my practice and I'm going to be patient with the progress. Okay, so celebrate your efforts, celebrate the progress, and the breakthroughs will come. Thank you very much. I will see you next time.